Looking for the perfect overlanding rig chase light? Well, I found them for you. Rough Country's chase lights. Let's go ahead and install them and keep watching. Hit us subscribe. Did an unboxing as well, so if you're interested in unboxing, go to my link right here. Comes obviously with all the hardware, stuff like that. You have to put it together. They do come in single sets, so if you wanted just to run one light, you can run it in the middle, on the side, whatever you want. Maybe something down the middle, be something a little bit different. But I wanted two, so I can have one on each end. But yeah, you could just run one, so they come individually packed. If you just want to use like a third brake light kind of a deal, you can. So first what I'm going to do is mount our bracket. They do have mounts for a roll bar too. So they have the flat mount, and then they have a round one. So if you're running this on a roll cage, if you're watching the YouTube video and you're just kind of inquiring about the actual lights, you can run this mount right here and wrap it around the bar. So, or if you have a particular style of roof rack that is tubular, you can run this too. So it's pretty cool that they offer an L bracket, flat, and a tubular one. So what we're going to do is RC this way, we're going to mount this way. Gonna get the 4 smallest Allen head. Damn, the little black bugs keep biting me, killing me today. These ones right here, just got that guy. What I like about Rough Country is they do provide an Allen wrench, the tools, and all the connectors that is needed to make their lights work. Typically they do provide a harness, but because this one is a UTV, technically a UTV light, on the UTVs you're gonna go ahead and run it the way you want it. Either typically you see like a switch panel, but if you wanted to run it to a toggle switch, you can as well, but they do not provide a harness, but they do provide all the connectors needed to make it work. Nice and tight. Not over tighten it, because this is it's not metal, but it's like a pop, kind of like a pop metal, so you don't want to too tighten it too crazy where you might strip it. That, and one more right there. So these are set. Now let's get our bracket. Get our T-nuts here. Get our hardware here. Get it ready. So I ended up picking up these brackets from Amazon, and it comes in a pack of like 12 or something like that. So they look like this. So what they did is the bolts. So what I'm thinking. So my game plan is, because these do mount on top of the Prosecute, it does mount to the rack directly on top, but I didn't want it to be too far up on the top side of it. So what I want to do is put it as low as possible to the roof, as low as possible to the roof. One downside of doing that, and even though it's on the roof, this dome light feature here was kind of going to be useless. I mean, I could put it upside down, but then it's just going to shoot up. So I mean, that's one downside. But so my goal is to mount this, and you'll see when I do it, as close to the roof as possible. So if I would have just mounted it directly from here to the top, it would work perfectly fine. But it would be sitting too high. So my game plan is to, this is the top side, or this is the top side. I'm planning to mount it to the bottom. I was actually planning to use it like this, but I think it's too far down and it hits the roof, and I don't want it to be vibrating and hitting the roof. Anyways, so with that being said, this the way I want to use it, then I had to drill out a bigger hole. So these fit right here, so I had to drill these out a little bit, and then this one's a little bit larger, and so this will be mounted underneath the bar. We're not going to mount it on the top side of the rack, but we are just going to use it to help us tighten these up. Now what we have to do is just twist these until they release, just like that, and then we're going to go ahead, put this on the back side, just like that, and kind of get an idea where we mounted the last one. And again, we're going to adjust it too. Alright, just by looking at this, kind of the same distance, maybe a finger. Don't want it too close, but not too far. Not too close, but not too far, just so we have a clearance. But look how, again, sleek. Now let's mount this onto here. Number 2, Jedi tricks. There you go. Alright. All just to make it look cool and low profile. Again, this is more work than I should be having to do, but again, I wanted a certain way. Alright, we got it. Now I just gotta tighten it. So there you have the lights, little whiter look. Those are gonna look really good at night. So it's getting dark on me, and I'm gonna do the wiring next day. But look at those, look really good. Imagine those behind the Land Cruiser and your chase lights. Then you'll put your awning and everything else on top. Those will look really sleek. So today we're gonna be doing is setting up the wiring for the lights. Last time I did my roof rack, I just kind of ran the factory wires, or the factory harness wires to each light and kind of splice them together. But this time around, I want to do is actually use some waterproof connectors, so that what I could do is individually run. For the chase light, it has 5 features, I think. I want to say 5 features. So what I ended up doing is just picking up this 18 gauge wire. So what I'll do is, it doesn't have to be red, or it doesn't have to be if I had enough colors, then I would probably done yellow, red, green, and everything to kind of match that. But anyways, with that being said, I'm gonna individually create a harness so it could be nice and clean up top. So with that being said, what I'm gonna do is, I'm doing these connectors so that I'm able to disconnect it if I ever want to either unplug the power from it, from the switch box, and or if I ever wanted to remove the roof rack, I could just do a quick disconnect using these. As you can see, I just got this. If you want to pick these up, all the stuff here will be on the description below. You can pick it up on my Amazon store. So I could easily quick disconnect it and just remove the roof rack if ever needed to do that, and or if I ever needed to swap out lights or add lights, I could always add another connector, or disconnect it, add another light, or vice versa. You kind of get the idea. So today, what I'm going to do right now is actually show you guys how to do this portion of it. This is my first time doing it, so bear with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a 6-pin connector. I'm going to run first. I'm going to start off first from the. I'm going to start by doing one of the connectors, because there's two connectors, a male and a female, and that's how you connect it. So I'm going to do the first connection, the first wiring connector, and I'm also, I forgot to tell you guys, I also got this expandable sleeving as well, and then I have some I also have some heat shrink wrap. I think that's how you say it. I'll show you guys. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first harness from the switch box up to the roof rack, and that'll create my panel at the bottom of where the switch panel is. I don't need no connector. This will individually connect to each individual switch panel source or selector in the box. So what I'm going to do is measure my distance from the fuse panel up to the roof rack, and that'll give me the distance for my first harness, and then we'll do the other part to the backlights shortly after. So you're saying, well, how are you going to tell which is which ones, because they're all black cables? Well, we're going to test them out and run power to each one individually, and that'll tell me exactly which cable is which cable. So I'm waiting for some black tape. I don't have any black tape, so for now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zip tie this together so it stays together, so it doesn't. I mean, I guess I could always individually, so I'm just going to use a zip tie for now. That I don't, I'm waiting for my black tape. This rubber piece, you're supposed to scoot it all the way to the edge, and then you put your crimper, and it'll on your depending on your size of your gauge, then you put it through there to the front, and so that'll crimp that front right there, and that'll create it'll be bigger at one end and then smaller at the other end, and then it'll crimp it, and that'll give you that seal, and then it grabs this rubber seal so it doesn't slide out. So that's how you do it. Now I gotta do all the rest. I'm not gonna do this how to do this stuff. It's actually, you just gotta practice, and it'll work out. But I got them crimped. All you have to do is slide it in the right direction, and it'll clip in. And then it has a little rubber stopper right there, and that should help seal. This one's not done right, so we might have to do this one over again. Yeah, do this one over again, but looking nice. All you have to do is make sure you push that watertight thing in there, but you should be fine. Then lock it once you got them all in place. Got them all in. I'm gonna put this locking cap. You're all set. Now you got to work on this. We're gonna leave empty, and then all we're gonna do is run our wire loom behind this all the way to here. Then we're gonna heat shrink it, wrap, or and then this will be sealed so no water goes underneath there as well. So it might be a little small, but what's cool about these is that they stretch like this, so I think we might be fine sliding this. So I'm gonna tape up the front so it slides smoothly, and then it gets to the end of the connector we created. I ended up doing is I did slide this heat shrink up to the front already. So I'm going to do is, once I get that wire sleeve like this one right here, this will end up in here, like just like this, and then I'm going to heat shrink this to here, and that should create a pretty good seal between here and make it look nice and professional. Okay, so we got it to the edge right here. I'm gonna not put it all the way to the edge, just give me some wiggle room just in case I need to maybe do some before we cut the backside. What we're gonna do is probably around right there, because if I have to remove this, I hope not, hopefully I did it right, so maybe somewhere like around right there. Use our heat shrink. This will be set here. I'm going to grab my torch. Careful with the torch, because if not you'll burn right through it just like that. Oh man. Alright, first average for everything, but I think we should be fine. What I did is, here's the 6 power, or we could use 1 as a ground, but I'm going to use these all as power, and then I'm going to run an individual ground up to the top to a bus bar. But here is the wire running to the top and all the way up to right here. So this will connect to my lights. I might have done it a little bit too long, but I could always zip tie it. So here's the connectors I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to put because these lights have, there's 2 sets of lights and it's not just one harness. I'm going to have to splice these together and then put it into one that goes into this connector. So I'm only really going to need to make a small connector from here, maybe like a 2-footer or 1-footer. Then the rest of it I'm just going to zip tie it somewhere on the roof rack. But here's this one. We're going to go do another one, but I'm just going to run it to my fuse box or my fuse switch panel, and then these will connect to individual switches depending on which switch I want it to be in. But I'm going to do the male plug, and I'm going to show you guys, just want to give you guys an overview of this. I know this is a long video, but maybe this is helpful. Maybe this is something you want to do. So here is the male, so it slides right into there. Here's the connectors. Pretty simple. Get in the right direction, either the flat side, it'll show you, and then you slip it in and it locks into place. And then I put my sleeve, and then I put my heat shrink. I ran out of black, so red is fine. Just shows you that all these wires right here are live. Then I just left this open at the rear, and I'll take these off and I'll connect these two connectors to the lights in the back of the Land Cruiser. Okay, because there are 2 different lights and they're not connected to the same one because they sell individually, I had to take off the connector that it came with. I'm gonna have to splice these together here and then connect these to our male harness, and that'll create our connection, and that'll connect to here, and that will connect to our box. Hopefully you guys are kind of getting this. Again, I didn't have to be this technical, but I think it's going to look a lot better. It's going to be easier to remove if I needed to as well. Okay, so I use buck connectors to connect them. This will be another switch that, if I wanted, these 2 right here will be accessories, power accessories for 2 other lights if I wanted to add to them. And here's my ground. Well, I won't be using these yellow ones because these yellow ones are for the license plate and they shoot down, so they wouldn't really even do anything. So I'm gonna cancel these out, just put them in here and just tie them up. This is my ground. So before I go ahead and plug my setup to the panel, I want to know where I want to make sure, or actually I could run the ground here and then run this one. But before we connect our ground to here, I'm going to run a direct ground from here to there instead of running it to here, because I don't want to connect something and then run power to the ground and potentially possibly mess up the light. Maybe that will cause it or not, but if I put a direct ground to here, at least I know whatever ones I do find, and then I could check even if I connect one of these or one of these, I could still check if these have power. So whichever one doesn't have, I could indicate which one's which. So doing this here first, direct ground, and then I'm going to plug these ones and figure out which one's which by connecting it over there, and then I could figure out which switch panel or number I want to use of all the 4 settings that those chase lights provide. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so I stripped my first connector here, and then what we're going to do is just put it on, I guess we could put it to here because this is power, but I don't want to do that because that's direct power. So what we're going to do is put it on a switch that has a fuse and a relay. So I'm going to just stick it in here to see what function it does on the light before we decide to find its home. All right, so then I need to run the ground. That I do need to do. Okay, I put my ground directly so that we don't cause any damage to the light, not knowing which, because I didn't number these. So we have this switch on. So let's go see what function that does. Those are the rear lights. Those should light up the back of the vehicle. So kind of give you an idea. So that'll be my number 3 location, which I used to use them for the ones right here, but for now I'm going to use them for here. So that'll be my rear white lights. So now I'm going to keep doing that, and this is what you have to keep doing once you know, obviously I didn't label them. So because I didn't label 1, 2, and 3 in the beginning, or they're not color coordinated, they're black, you're gonna have to do this on your own. So it's not very hard. Be patient, and yeah, it should be looking good as soon as I'm done with this. So it got dark on me, so what I ended up doing, actually utilizing all 6 pins on my wiring kit. So reverse light, dome light, brake light, running light, brake light, hazards, dusk, and a ground. So all 6. So what I was planning to do before was just try to keep one harness for all my lights, and I might just add, and the light bar has its own harness, so it's not too bad. So it's still clean. So my next light are the area lights, so that might have to have its own wiring harness made, because the harness that it comes with, it doesn't work on this situation, I believe so. But anyway, that's another YouTube channel video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let's show you what these lights do and why I'm praising them to use them for your overlanding rig or any rig. These are meant for, technically, for side-by-sides razors, but I'm using them for my overlanding rig, Land Cruiser, so I think you'll enjoy them as well. So check them out. All right, so first we're gonna do our low brake light, and that's our low brake light. It's nice. You could probably still drive with it because it's a driving brake light. So let's just say you're in a situation where you're not able to really be seen, and because your lights are low, maybe in a fog situation, works great. But you could also use this brighter red right here, which this is actually a brake light. You're supposed to connect it to your brake lights, but I wanted to have everything super manual. These are super bright, as you can see. Probably wouldn't want to drive with these on just because they probably blind the person behind you. But maybe you could even use these 2 features as a chase light, but in red instead. But let's go ahead and show you now the chase light which is I guess you consider it as a hazard, but I use this as a chase light. And this is the amber or yellow one here, or orange one, whatever color you think it is. Here it is. All right, so this is how this feature functions. It's also more like a hazard. I actually like it if you're running through the dust or in snow conditions. The orange will show you more of a hazard instead of the red. So if you're, somebody's behind you at a distance, they know where you're at. Instead of, a brake light, you could use this sequence here and this chase light to kind of protect yourself from anybody crashing into you, and or protect the car in front of you, behind you as well. So this is that feature. So now the feature that I'm going to show you next, this is the rear lights. I haven't really checked how far back it reaches, but I'm gonna see it. It's super bright, so it's almost like a reverse light, and it shoots straight out. Eventually I'm gonna do all full review on all my lights in the dark, in the middle of nowhere, just for you guys. But these are the reverse lights here. So now these are your cargo lights. As you can tell, they're shooting down, they're bouncing off the roof of the Land Cruiser. It's not really ideal in this situation, just because they're being blocked by the roof. But if you're using this by a side-by-side, if you put this on a roll bar, or even on a Jeep, right, or whatever, you have a roll bar and you're shooting this would be a perfect cargo light. So I have this under cargo light. So yeah, so that's all the light functions right there. Let's finish this video and call it a day. So now that we have connected our lights, I ran it through the channel, and I'll end up fixing that. But what I did is I ran it through here in this little gap, and the wire fell right through here under this bracket, zip tied it to here under the bar, zip tied it to here. Did all my connection right here. Actually, I had too much wire, which I guess I could have cut the wire shorter so I didn't have a bunch like this. But if I ever wanted to use these lights somewhere else, I can. But just zip tied it here, and then I'm going to put an awning on this side so you won't even see this. And again, ran the wire through and under this. What's cool about these bars is that this gauge wire hides under this bar right here, and I'll put a zip tie. You probably won't even need it because it's nice fitted, but it runs through it from that one over there all the way over here, and it runs, and then I drop it into here. But yeah, that's the wiring on the lights. So that ends our video on our installation of our Rough Country multifunction chase light So that ends our installation of our Rough Country multifunction chase light. Yeah, it wasn't really hard. It's just time consuming anytime that goes from wiring. So hopefully these videos are somewhat helpful, not only for the wiring part of it and the installation, but also making the decision if you're looking for a good chase light at a good value and with good customer service and quality. Make sure obviously to choose, then make Rough Country, an option. I think I'm going to really enjoy these. Compared to my last chase lights, I custom made them. They were more of a actually LED light bar, smaller one. So I think this will be a perfect, well-rounded chase light and multi-use light too, with all those features. So if you want to pick one of these up, click on the description below. Big shout outs to Rough Country for always supporting my Land Cruiser build and all my projects. So don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video.